Anointed warriors, what up, spiritual family? And welcome back to Mount Fitness MBS Ministry, where I am your host, Brother Minister Mongoose, and where it's all about living and promoting a holistic mind, body, and spirit approach to life, to health and wellness, and of course, to running the race that He has set before us. This holistic ministry is committed to providing you with real-world services that are designed to help strengthen and nourish you in the mental you, the physical you, and in the spiritual you. For more information about what makes this a different and a unique type of ministry, please stay tuned to the end of the video. And if you'd like some information about what makes me a unique or different kind of minister, and I am, also please stay tuned to the end of the video. But for now, allow me to please take another second to officially welcome you guys to the channel. And as always, I send a very special additional shout of extra love, extra thanks, extra gratitude to the longtime subscribers and supporters of the ministry. Now, having said that, guys, if you're tuning in for the first time, if you are a longtime viewer and supporter of the ministry, or if you're anyone between, let me encourage you to always live your life in a way that prioritizes faith over fear, truth over tradition, knowledge over nonsense, love over lust, and people over profit. This is what I got for you guys in terms of the opening. And without further ado, guys, we're going to get off into today's topic where we're talking about heaven and hell. And I'm going to be giving you guys a philosophical description or depiction of what heaven and hell looks like, could look like, could resemble, what you can relate to. But it's important that you guys also know I make these messages from time to time, because one of the tricks of the enemy is to get us to become so distracted, so worn down, that we fail to focus on this truth about heaven and hell, particularly as it relates to this particular philosophical analogy I'm about to express. You guys have probably seen this video a time or two in the past, this same message, but it's just like a swimmer, a gymnast, a boxer, a quarterback. Day in and day out, they use the same training apparatus. You know, whether it's in the pool, day in and day out, nothing's changed. Boxer, he's used the same speed bag, same jump rope, same jogging. Might add in some things here and there, but it's the same thing. So we need these things to stay fresh, to stay sharp, to continue to refine what it is that we are already aware of and we're already committed to. But having said that, guys, again, it's important that we know that the trick of the enemy, or one of the trick of the enemies, is to have us to lose sight of this. And we got to understand that it's our divine assignment, particularly those of us who carry what we call the light, the Holy Spirit, awakened consciousness, whatever you want to refer to it as, potato. You carry this energy, and it's important that you get this message. And in my opinion, it's important that you embrace this analogy that I'm going to be giving, because again, this analogy kind of says it all when it comes to what we're here for, why we have been born or birthed into this existence, but also these times, even our own individual situations and circumstances. This helps us understand the whys behind that. The WHYS, the whys behind that. Why were we born? What are we here to do? We have to embrace this, and we have to stop looking for others to get it, to others to relate to it, for others to be able to embrace it or, utilize this truth. others don't have it to give. It's like trying to get orange juice out of an apple. It's like trying to get apple juice, out of a head of cabbage. No matter how hard you try, no matter how you beat it, you shape it, you mold it, you do whatever to it, it's impossible. So the overwhelming majority of people on this planet don't have what it is that we are here to provide. So we can't become judgmental. We can't look down our noses at people. We can't become retaliatory. And at some point, we can't even become disappointed. Yes, we may experience all of those things at a time and at a season, but that's not our modus operandi. That's not the template from which we operate. We understand, and we have to understand that, again, no matter how hard I try, I can't get water out of a brick. I can't get, I think the most common phrase, you can't get blood from a turnip, whatever. It's just not there. So embracing this truth and knowing that, it causes us to, by the Holy Spirit, double down on our commitment once we realize that, hey, they don't have it to give, but I have it to give. And that's why I was born. That's why it was given to me. Pardon me. That's why it was given to me. Not for me in and of myself, not for just me and my family, my inner circle, but for me to share this, for me to provide this to the world, so that all of those who may, have an inclining, they may get that, that tug on their coattail down in their spirit that says, hey, try this. This is a better way to do it. This is a better way to, have meaning and purpose and fulfillment and real joy and real love in your life. There's some people that are going to get it, but the overwhelming majority of people are not. They're too depressed, they're too fearful, they're too comfortable with the status quo. They don't want to get, they're too enraged, and you'll know why I use that word enraged here in just a minute, as I get into the analogy or the depiction from a philosophical standpoint of what heaven and what hell looks like, what it is, what could be analogous of it, philosophically speaking, again, of course. So, imagine a large room. In this room, there's a large table. And you could extrapolate this out, and, the world, is the room, and, and the table is society. You can extrapolate that out and get the perspective from which all these different philosophical things or point of views may actually fit into the narrative, or fit into the belief and the reference point that I'm making here. So again, imagine giant size room. In that room, there's a giant table, and sitting around this table is a whole bunch of individuals sitting around this round table. And these people that's sitting at this table, they're hungry, they're starving, they haven't eaten, they're literally starving. These people, and what they're starving for food. These people and the food represents collective society, and starving for financial prosperity, starving for real love, real meaning, real purpose, courage, understanding, kindness, good health. They're hungry, they're starving for it. All the things that we know life really consists of. We all want to be welcomed. We all want to have friends. We all want to experience love. We all want to grow in wisdom and knowledge. We all want to grow in compassion. We want to experience, compassion being shared to us. All these different things. Financial prosperity, all these different things. These people are starving for it. Haven't had it. So imagine a person, some people in a room, hungry, starving for food. And then someone comes in and sits in front of them a very large bowl. The bowl is large enough to where everybody at the table can also look down in the bowl. It's very large, it's very deep. And they look down there, and the same person that sits the bowl on the table, that person, that entity is God, of course. The person that sits the bowl on the table then gets all kinds of good food. We know what the food represents: love, compassion, prosperity, good health. The person comes in and put all this good food in the bottom of this huge bowl. Everybody at the table sitting around it, they're looking down in it, they're seeing the food at the bottom, but they can't reach it. It's too far down. And then this person comes back in and gives them some very long, giant size spoons so that they could reach down in there and get the food. So they're reaching down in there. They're following the plan, what we're told. Go up, grow up, be a good person, get a job, pay your taxes, save your money, work hard, God willing, you find you a spouse, you go to college, you do all these things. They're following that system. So they get the spoons and they go digging down in there. They're starving for this food. They go to digging down in there. And then they get down where they can reach it, and they bring the spoons up, but the spoon is too long. They can't get it in their mouth. They can't eat off the spoon. They try to turn their arms and do everything they can. They can't eat off the spoon. They got the food, got the job, got the house, got good friends, got good health. You got all these things. But they're empty. You have them, but they're not doing it for you. They're not doing it for you. And so, as a result of them being hungry and that food and all of that being right there, and them having followed the necessary steps, the required steps in order for them to access the food and benefit from the food, all these things running together, they become enraged. Can't get to the food. They're hungry. They follow the right path. It's not doing it for them. They become enraged. And in their rage, they start fighting amongst each other. Some of them start taking their spoons and whacking each other across the head with it. They just go berserk, which is understandable if we stay with the mindset that these people are starving. And now that food is right there for them. So they go berserker mode. And they begin to attack each other, to mock each other, to ridicule each other, to hate each other, to blame each other, and all of these different things. That is hell. It's a philosophical view of what hell looks like, what it consists of. And then you could zero that in to see how that is applicable to the society that we live in, where people may not have everything. There's some challenges. We all get that. We all have them. But for the most part, the overwhelming majority of people that's enraged, that's full of hatred, that's, narcissistic. A lot of these people have everything. Not every single thing, but you get the point that I'm making. Like they have food, they have water, they have shelter, They have clothing. Some of them have, well-to-do bank accounts. They have education. They got family, got a house, working a job, whatever it is that they have that, and it's not doing it for them. And they have gone berserker mode. Hatred, lust, jealousy, envy, all of these things. That's hell. To have all of the things right there and not be able to benefit from them. That's hell. Now heaven, and this is the point that the believers must really take home in terms of our God-given assignment, our duties, our responsibilities. Heaven is that same analogy I just gave you with the people being hungry. Someone comes in, gives them a large bowl, puts the food in the bottom, gives them the same super large spoons, and they begin to go through the same frustration, disappointment. But then those who are gifted, because we've gone through the same system, education and working and saving money and, our goals, our personal hopes and dreams and following the system, if you will. We've gone through that same process, and we've all haven't gone through it in a way that we could say it was perfect. We've all made mistakes. We've all become, at some point, whether it was jealousy for you and hatred for the next person and envy for the next person and sadness and loneliness and false beliefs and bad attitude and greed for the next one and next one and next one. We've all experienced this. So in the same room, they go through the same frustration stage. They go through the same berserker state. But then, because of his grace, some of them, and these some, would be considered the 144,000, the few, the very limited ones. Some of them began to say, okay, hold on a second. My spoon, I can't feed myself. And in the midst of it, this is our awakening. In the midst of it, because our awakening meant we had to get it figured out. We had to wake out by his grace. So the awakening that took place in our lives, and what makes this different room, what makes this room heaven and not hell, is that by the grace of God, I can't feed myself. Everybody's going crazy, but what I think about is, well, if I can't feed myself, there's nothing there for me. My spoon is long enough so I can dig down in that bowl and I can pull that long spoon up and I can feed the guy across from me. I can pick that food up and feed the guy or the girl down the street from me around this big old bowl. And the 144,000s are the tip of the spear. They figure it out first. And then they start doing this. Hey, man, I'm still hungry here. I'm still starving. But you know what? You might as well be able to eat. Here you go. There's that person over there. Spoon some up and give some to that person over there. They're the leaders. And they go through that brutal process of being the first fruits. So they remain hungry for a while. They got to go through the most. To he whom much is given, much is required. But after a while, the other people begin to settle down. These are our spiritual brothers and sisters that's most commonly referred to as the great multitude. They say, okay, hold on a second. Look what those guys are doing there. Look what they're doing. That seems like it's working. Because what I'm noticing is when they feed that guy across from them, that guy can feed them back. when they put themselves to the side, when they forget about themselves and think about the next guy, the next girl, and they feed that person eventually wakes up and start feeding them right back. That seems like that works. I'm going to try that. So the 144,000 wake up to this truth, and then they lead the great multitude into this truth. And out of the rage, the darkness, all the other things that are associated with just not having awakened. And so that is a good example of heaven. That room is a good example of heaven. Having gone through it all, having suffered, and having, by the grace of God, said there has to be a better way. And in this better way, I'm going to sacrifice myself. I'm going to dismiss myself. I'm going to forget about myself, and I'm going to help somebody else. That person over there, they haven't figured it out, but I'm going to help them. And I realize that ultimately, by me helping them, they will get it figured out, and they will in turn help me. There's a supernatural power at work here. But the 144,000 has to be the leaders. They have to be the tip of the spear and feed others love, kindness, hope, courage, compassion, all of these different things. So that's a good depiction of what heaven looks like. And when we embrace this view, this philosophical perspective, we can go out into the world and not be judgmental, to not be bogged down because, you know what? I'm trying to be friendly to this guy. I'm trying to be approachable and compassionate to this guy and helpful to this guy or this girl. And all they're doing is rolling their eyes. All they're doing is being mean-spirited. You know what? They don't have it to give. They are that apple that you're trying to get orange juice from. They don't have it. But they need what you have. They need that orange juice. That apple juice ain't doing it for them. So when you know that it's your God-given responsibility, then it makes it that much more bearable. Doesn't mean it's easy, but it does get easier the more and more you embrace this truth. That they don't have it to give. They're enraged. They're lost. They're starving. They're hungry. They're confused. They're pissed off. All the things that society laid out to them and said, do this and you'll be happy. That's the food that they can see. They've done those things. They follow that path, and it's left them with nothing but emptiness and rage. Some people have spent their whole life working jobs and getting a promotion or not getting a promotion, but they've spent time away from family, from friends. They've given up, their individual meaning in life, their goals, their hobbies. They've just worked, to prosper and take care of their family and all these different things. And it's left them like the people in that room that I referred to or gave a depiction of hell is. They don't have it to give you. And yet you have to do your job nevertheless. See, when we get ourselves by the grace of God to this truth, we can embrace who we are and what we're here for. And we can go out and take on the task, the mantle. We can take on the whips. We can take on the crown of thorns being shoved into our head. We can take being spat on. We can take having to carry this big boulder cross through the city / through society with people laughing at us, talking about us, metaphorically spitting on us, kicking us, hitting us across our back, all these different things. We can do that because we realize they don't have it to give. And it's my assignment to go through what I got to go through to provide that to them. And ultimately, it comes back to me, even 1,000-fold. When Christ died, he rose on the third day, as you know. And when he rose, he said, all power was given unto him. So you get there, but you just got to be willing to realize that you're here to take the webs, the bruises, the scars. You're not here to just go bananas or sit on the sideline. You're here to show others how to take that spoon and look out for others. Now, does that mean you got to be willy-nilly style and be, less than discerning? No, it does not. Obviously, you don't want to be out there blessing your enemies. And we do have enemies out there. We do have enemies, so we have to be discerning. You have people that you can feed and nourish. Your time, your energy, your smile, your encouragement, your forgiveness, and they'll take total advantage of those things. They'll take that food that you give them. They'll take that nourishment and get all nourished up, and then they'll take that spoon out of your hand and beat you over the head with it. So yes, we do have to be careful, but the Heavenly Father is not going to allow, he's not going to set you up for failure. As long as you're moving in discernment and knowing that even if you make a mistake, I came across a young man earlier today and I basically chased him down to give him some encouragement. And one of the things that I told him, because he had shared that he feels like he's not hitting, he's not hitting his mark. He's not taking advantage of the season that he's in. And I just gave him some encouragement that, even if you make a mistake, he promised that his goodness, his blessings, his mercy, his grace, his prosperity, his protection, he said these things will track you down and overtake you. So even when he told you to go forward and you stood still, even when he told you to stand still and you went forward, you was a little bit disobedient, you was hesitant, you made some mistakes, his blessings will track you down and overtake you. And I'm saying that to say, even if your discernment is not hitting on all cylinders, in other words, somebody did snake their way into a conversation with you, or you giving them some advice or whatever, even if you made that mistake, you're divinely guided, you're divinely protected, you're covered in grace. And so that person just basically, they've played themselves out. God's not going to allow you to come up short. When your heart is in the right place, you've embraced His truth, and now you're being discerning. But someone found a way to weasel their way into some encouragement or whatever. You don't have to worry about that. You have to get the job done and know that even if you don't discern something, if you make some mistake, you walk away from a situation that you should have stayed, you stayed in a situation longer than you should have, whatever the situation may be, as long as your heart is in the right place and as long as you move it in discernment and you fulfill your task of saying, hey, I see the world for what it is. I see people having applied themselves and drank the Kool-Aid and did all these things, went to school, sacrificed time with their loved ones, their health in some instances, their schedule. They put all their chips in one basket, and then when they got that basket, it was empty. No purpose in life, no meaning, no real joy, no fulfillment, just kind of robotically going along with the system. You can see that. And now it's your God-given assignment to say, hey man, look, you don't need to be you don't need to give me love. You don't need to give me compliments. You don't need to help me financially. I'm going to do these things for you. I'm going to show you that here, eat from the spoon. Because it all comes back to me. By His grace and by His authority. It all comes back to you. When you leave your house, when you go into that workplace and, these people are empty, they're narcissistic, they're mean-spirited, they're killjoys and naysayers. Keep on putting that spoon out there. Hey, I'm going to show you what compassion looks like. Here's some compassion. Feast. Here's some encouragement. Feast. Here's some help that I know. Had you saw me, slip on that banana peel, you would have started laughing and went on about your business. But I saw you slip on it. I'm going to help you up. I'm going to make sure we get the right cleaning material to clean that up. I'm going to help you do these things. I'm going to show you. Here. Feast. And His divine timing. Those who are amongst this group that we call the great multitude, they're going to say, hey, yeah, that moved me. That inspired me. That motivated me. That changed me. So now let me forget about myself and let me go allow someone to feast. These are those that are meant to be amongst the great multitude. And again, like I said, most people aren't going to get it. We know that. We have to be discerning. But we know that when we are discerning, we're covered in grace. We're covered in mercy, guidance, protection, renewal. All these different things tracks us down. So, as long as we're being honestly discerning and talking and staying connected to God and doing our due diligence when it comes to sharing that spoon, showing people how to use that spoon, we are literally unstoppable. Not in and of ourselves, but by the Spirit that He has in us and by the divine assignment and plan that He has for our lives. So we got to realize that, and we got to realize, hey man, if I go out there and I'm not showing people how to use these spoons, then people just continue to stay in that same stagnant state, the disappointed state, that state of despair, that state of lust and jealousy and envy and greed and all these different things. My assignment, your assignment, is to show people, hey man, you don't have to get that from people. You have to give that to people. And in due time, all those that are meant to receive that, they will pay that forward. And they'll feed someone. They'll forget about themselves. And they'll feed someone. And that person will turn around, just like those people sitting at that large bowl in heaven, in the room that's heaven. And they feed him. He gives them that spoon. He takes his spoon, feed him right back. He takes a spoon, feed it to the guy or girl. That way, they take their spoon and feed it right back. He feeds someone else, giving to someone else. In spite of the fact that for the 144,000, they're not going to give it back. They just don't have it. But we have a job to do, nevertheless. So, as I begin to close this, guys, I think this is a very important message because, again, outside of the political correctness, we all may say, hi, good morning. We all may hold the door. We all may do all these superficial things that, we've been indoctrinated to do. This is what good people do. This is what I'm supposed to do. That type of attitude, that type of spirit when you do something for somebody, it's not going to do it. It ain't going to do it for them. It's not going to work for them. So I'm going to get out of here, guys, but this is the express purpose for why I leave my email. Yeah, let me get out of here. This is why I leave my email address, guys. There's follow-up questions, follow-up perspectives, dialogue, discourse, whatever the case may be. Hit that email link down in the description box. I'd love to fill in the blanks or elaborate a little bit further, or again, engage in dialogue or discourse, whatever the case may be. Hit that email link. Now, as far as some additional information about what makes this a different kind of ministry, hey, it's a mind, body, and spirit ministry. So it's designed, again, to strengthen and nourish the mind, the body, and the spirit. The services that I mentioned at the beginning of the video that are utilized in order to achieve this holistic strength and wellness consist of experiential-based philosophical consultative services for the mind, ISSA certified fitness training for the body, and clean-hearted spiritual teachings and practices for the spirit and for the soul. Additional services consist of good old-fashioned motivational speaking, as well as youth and young adult mentoring and counseling, and those services are also embraced and engulfed by the holistic approach. Please visit the physical fitness branch of the ministry located at mountfitnessmbs.com. And if you'd like some more specific details about any of the services, please watch a video that's titled MBS Service Tutorial. That's going to tell you everything you need to know about the services that I mentioned, what they consist of, how they're implemented, how they can be beneficial to you, and so forth and so on. Now, if you have any follow-up questions beyond that, or if perhaps you'd like to schedule your initial consultation and evaluation in any or perhaps all of the services that I just mentioned, definitely send an email. I love the opportunity to speak with you. And, I want to ask you guys if you got anything of value out of today's message. Do you think that there's anyone else out there that could get value out of today's message? If your answer is yes to either of those questions, then it's literally up to you now. I can't make the message, and I've said it once, I've said it a gazillion times. I wish I could continue to forward the message and send it to people that aren't subscribed to the channel, but I can't. But you can. If you got value, if it helped you out, even if it just gave you a different perspective, I don't know about that. But at least it gave me something to think about or consider. If there was any kind of benefit or value in it to you, that's an indication that there's benefit and value in it potentially for someone else. So please, start by hitting the share button. That's the most important button of all, in my opinion. And then also, if the Holy Spirit moves you to do so, then also hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you aren't already subscribed. And if you'd like to receive a notification every time I upload a new message, then also hit the bell icon. If the Holy Spirit moves you to make a monetary donation to show your thanks, your support, or your generosity towards this ministry, I'm going to leave a Cash App link down in the description box. And please remember that no amount is too small. Now, in whatever way the Holy Spirit moves you to show your thanks, your love, your support, and your generosity towards this ministry, may you receive by faith the abundant harvest that He promised for you, shaken down, pressed together, and running over. Receive it by faith, guys. Whenever you plant good seed in good ground, He's promised you that. So receive it by faith, as I simultaneously receive by faith your continued love, your continued support, and your continued generosity all across the board. I want to thank you guys. I'm going to get out of here, but also remember, guys, regardless of your age, regardless of your physical conditioning, and regardless of the personal challenges that you may be facing in life, this ministry has been raised up, anointed, and appointed to help you make sure that regardless of all those things, your mind, your body, and your spirit remains healthy, beautiful, and vibrant. Reach out to this ministry if I can help you in either of those categories, mind, body, and or spirit. And keep in mind, hey, they don't have it to give, but you have it to give. They don't have it to say, oh, well, this girl is, it's nothing weird or strange or arrogant or antisocial or mean-spirited about them. It's just that They're different. They don't have it in them to be able to, you know, to see through the forest and see the truth about it. All they know is what society has given them. You know, so if you're not talking enough, if you're not smiling enough, if you're not social enough, if you walk with confidence, or whatever the case may be, they don't have it to give you, but you have it to give them. And it's your God-given assignment to give them that love, that encouragement, that smile, that patience, that tolerance, that forgiveness, whatever it is that he would have you give them in that moment. You're here to say, here, feast. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'd like to be, you know, welcomed and understood and all these different things, but I'm fine. Feast. And in due season, you get that all back, even 1,000-fold. That's what he's promised you. So receive it by faith, guys. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys in the next one. I am Brother Minister Mongoose, and I will holler back. Peace.